Okay, day 3 of the build. This has been resting overnight. We go ahead and pull all the clamps off. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put back on the chambering template and just route out this neck pocket to match the mistake I made with the neck pocket already there. Okay, so I evened up the neck pocket. I gouged it a little bit, not paying attention to where the bearing was. So, you know, again, first time building a guitar, so some mistakes are being made, but hopefully those can all be rectified on down the line. So now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the chambering template, put on this template, and then trim the guitar flush. I'm gonna go ahead and route out the pickup cavities as well as the control. And I need to get a different bit for the F-hole because it needs to be about 1/4 of an inch, and this is more like 1/2 an inch, so it would not fit through the little narrow spaces in the F-holes. Okay, now I'm gonna be cutting away pretty much as much excess as I can here on the bandsaw from around these edges, so that'll make it a little easier for the router when I'm trying to flush it up with the template. So I've still got the resaw blade on there. Probably not the best choice for this, but I just don't feel like changing the blade, and it should do a fine job. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, it's really starting to look like a Telecaster. I'm getting pretty excited about this guitar. Okay, now that I've got the template stuck on, I'm gonna go ahead and route out the pickup cavities and the control cavity. The control cavity is going to go right through into the chamber, so the depth isn't that important there as long as it goes through. The pickup cavities, also the depth. So on a thin line, the pickups attach to the pick guard for the neck, and then to the bridge for the bridge pickup. So the depth is not as crucial because you're really not referencing off of the depth of the pocket when you're adjusting the height of the pickup. So on modern guitars, on modern tellies, most of the pockets are about 3/4 of an inch deep. On vintage tellies, they're 5/8 of an inch deep. So I'm just gonna go somewhere in between there. Again, precision does not matter as much on thin line style. So. Okay, now we're gonna head over to the router table. I'm gonna mount this bit upside down in the router table, and then I'm gonna use that to follow along the outside edge and really get this body close to its final shape. So let's do that. Okay, so this is the Woodpecker's router table with their PRL V2 lift, precision router lift is what they call it. It is an awesome system, very, very easy and quick to do bit changes. And the coolest thing by far is this. The router lift. So you can do above table bit changes with ease as long as you have your wrench for your router. So that's the cool thing about this DeWalt router is it's got a 1-button lock. Tighten it up. Then you will lower your bit just temporarily. You want to find the plate that best fits your bit. Obviously you want the smallest amount of room, which is going to be this one right here. Use a little included tool. Boom. Okay. Very, very simple. Now I can do macro height adjustments by lifting and lowering, and I can do micro adjustments with this wheel here. So not really probably gonna need to do many micro adjustments on this one. Okay, so we're pretty much good to go. I'm gonna move this fence a little closer and open it up. You've got your dust collection port right here. And so my goal, I'm gonna hook up my shop vac with Dust Deputy. Okay, so we've got our body here. The key is we wanna make sure that bearing is gonna be riding up against the template. Okay, let me get my dust collection going and we'll get started. Okay, so as you can see, I did an awesome job. Really nice. So I'm just gonna raise the bit and go around another pass. Alright, so I've changed the bit from a pattern bit to a flush trim bit. The big difference being that a pattern bit has a bearing on the bottom, flush trim bit has a bearing on the top, at least generally speaking. So what I'm gonna do now is trim off this last little bit, and the bearing is not gonna be riding on the template, it's actually gonna be riding on the body itself where it's already cut out. Another thing I looked at, because you know, on router tables, the standard rule of thumb is to always feed from right to left, and that's because you're feeding against the turn of the router bit, and you know, prevents you from getting out of control and that kind of thing. Well, on a guitar body, it's a bit unique because you have end grain on both ends of the guitar that you're cutting into, and you can get a lot of tear out, which I actually did get some tear out here in the neck pocket. So I'm not even gonna mess with this neck pocket right now. This is gonna have to be, I'm gonna have to add the shim, and then I'm gonna leave the shim kind of too big on purpose, and then I'm just gonna have to recut this neck pocket basically because it's just got too much tear out, and the pattern bit slipped off of the template. And anyway, so not gonna be worrying about that, but I'm using this graphic from Stuart McDonald. They're an online guitar luthier supply. I'll put this in the description of the video. But basically this shows you that you need to go clockwise on a few of the passes, and then you can go counterclockwise for the entirety of the body after doing that. So that's what I'm gonna try this time and see if that helps at all with tear out. So let me get my dust collection going and router turned on. Okay, so as you can see, that did a pretty good job. There's a little bit of a ridge here where the pattern bit versus the flush trim bit, but it is, I mean, barely anything. So I'm just gonna, I'll be able to hit that with a, you know, a dowel wrapped in sandpaper and smooth that out, no problem. So as you can see, I left the neck pocket kind of roughed out because I'm gonna be, again, filling this back in with a shim and you know, then rerouting it. So the next step is going to be to route the F-hole. So let's go over and do that. Okay, now it's time to route the F-hole. So I tried to find a pattern bit that fit this, but was unsuccessful, at least locally. So what I did was buy a downcut spiral bit that is 1/4 inches, which is exactly the width of the narrowest point of the F-hole. And instead of using a guide, I'm just going to use the actual post of the bit itself and ride along the edge with that. And that should work. I've read about that online. Okay, let's give this a shot. I'm just gonna plunge in real quick and then move it around a little bit just for a test. Okay, so that worked really great. I'm really pleased with that cut. Doesn't look like a gouge in the bottom at all. Let me vacuum it out. Yeah, so that looks totally clean. So very, very happy with the way that cut. So now is the moment of truth where I pass this through, and I'm just worried about this being a little bit tight, but we'll see. All right, here we go. All right, perfect, clean, no tear out. That's awesome. Let's do it one more time over in this corner. That worked just about as well as it could have ever hoped for. So you can see, perfect, clean, no tear out on the inside there. I'm gonna vacuum this out and we can pop this template off. That's the beautiful thing about this carpet tape, is it pretty much comes right off without leaving any sort of nasty residue. So, all right, so I would say that looks very guitar-like. I mean, the F-hole is unbelievably clean, no burning. Control cavity looks great. The neck pocket obviously needs quite a bit of work, but it doesn't sound like there's a piece of wood inside the F-hole. There it goes. Okay, I think that's a good stopping point for today.